So Jaren and I forget who else versus Swemf and I forget who else. Quality broadcasting here, guys. Quality broadcasting. Yeah, no, I mean Frozen. That's yeah. You guys were there was quite a big peak difference there. Not necessarily surprised to see how things turned out the way they did. That being said, I think it was still a nice match, and I think you can take away things from it, right? And that's really the idea behind this. It's not necessarily because there's no prize money on the line. There's no rationale for you to try hard, right? It's more or less just a good time trying to have some fun with peeps. All right. So, who is the other section of Jaren's team? Okay, your partner's on his way. Cool. Live game. Oh, live game. I haven't played with live game and seen live game in forever. His 1v1 opponent left and he couldn't quit. Yep. Goofy, yeah. Yeah, basically. Typhon, you jumping into partial cast in the bottom again, or are you just kind of out for now? No big deal. Moving to bed? Okay, have a good night, Typhon. Thanks for jumping in. I really, this is not going to take as long as I think people thought it was going to be. Zeeker's coming in to spectate his competition, I guess. So we'll see what happens. We got our ready and live game in Jaren. Falling or swim whenever you guys are ready. Ready up or press. Tell me ready. Thanks, Typhon. It's something to do, man. I'm just trying to come up with new things to do, and I'm like, why not? There doesn't have to be necessarily a prize pool. It can just be for fun. All right, cool. Time for me to show up late and demand EQ. Of course, live game. Of course, that's how this works. All right. Everybody seems to be readied up. Let's get started. Mastermind, tourney mode. So this is, to recap, this is Swemf on the East team and Froggo Admirers on the West team. Swemf +1 versus Froggo Admirers. See how this goes. Live game I used to occasionally get into lobbies with. I have not seen him in quite some time, so not sure how good he really is in this current day and age. We have Villain, All Out Assault, and Hero. So we see Cartel, Cartel, Cartel. And what does Swemf go? Cartel. So we have a quad Cartel game. This is an interesting one. I can't say I'm surprised, but Cartel is definitely one of the stronger ones. So for anyone that doesn't remember, Cartel is the one that gives you +10 income early, and then after wave 10 you get -40 income. So this should be a very interesting very interesting early game, but then we'll kind of see how this transitions to mid to late. I think in these situations you need to capitalize off your early game advantage and go to late game with your guns ablazing. But we'll see what happens. Live game going Adam start with Steed. Don't dislike this necessarily. We'll see kind of how this goes early though. So we'd see 2 cat starts, Adam start, and Berserker. I think All Out Assault is definitely a huge thing, right, with Cartel. You'd be -60 income, which I don't think many people will go for. So I see this realistically being more of a villain and hero game. That being said, I'm not sure. Swemf +1. doing a relatively similar start in terms of their weak waves. So we'll kind of see how this goes. Do we get 20s across the board? We got 20s across the board aside from live game. Live game did not get a 20. That really doesn't hurt him that much. He's got Zerker, right? So at least under previous Zerker, it wasn't too big of a deal. But yeah, there's technically no advantage or disadvantage in this situation aside from the fact of who can actually do more, right? Both teams have the same exact income, the same exact disadvantages and advantages, but it's who can capitalize off that +5 income over greed. We are getting a leak on the Nikomata of Fallinger. Fallinger. At least should be. This is usually like an 8% leak. It's not much, but it's something. So keep that in mind. At least gives a little bit more time to live game to send into the Zerker. Live game very well could get double snail. So we'll see how that goes. I actually don't know with Noose changes if it changes as much. So the Nico actually held. I've seen it leak as well as hold. So that is interesting. For it to hold there is kind of crazy. Fallinger is going to push really hard, which he should be at this point. Double Gargoyle, I don't think he leaks at all. Okay, double snail into the Nikomata. I think he would have been better off, honestly, just doing a full 7 stack. That's my opinion. But, like, you know, it's an opinion, man, so it doesn't really mean much. I think we're seeing a leak of the Brute. That's going to be the only thing that leaks. Looks like a hold by the Zerker. The Zerker seems really strong now. If this Sacred Steed would have pulled the Brute, I think this would have held, given the Atoms more time to actually ramp. But, sadly, it doesn't seem like it did enough. Zerker with 3 Gargs, though. Yeah, it was 3 Gargs. I didn't even notice that. It was 2 Gargs when I initially looked. 3 Gargoyles is a lot. He's going to be really weak on 5. This is a thing to look out for. Both teams, I mean, both of the Swemf +1 are bad on 5. See kind of what happens here. It seems like Jaren is getting coached by live game here. It seems like live game's kind of telling him what to do, which I don't think is a bad idea. Popo, there is a fried dill pickle chip dip. That sounds really good. We'll kind of see what happens here, though, on this side. The resend by live game. I don't dislike the resend here. I don't know if it will leak him, though. It seems to be that he will leak. The new Zerker is very difficult to read because it attacks so much quicker. But that is definitely a leak. That is definitely 46% out of Swemf. That's actually quite massive, especially when the fact that now he has to deal with another potential resend on a wave that he's strong on. Let's see here. So we have the worker advantage is about the same right now. Swemf is pushed to 7 workers. Double Brute coming in by Jaren. I think the double Brute should realistically just obliterate Fallinger. He's 2 gold short. 2 gold short of the Butcher, which is, I imagine, what he was going to go for. But it seems Swemp is kind of teaching him here. If he does not harden, he dies. Guaranteed to a double Butcher here. He's 90 under. A double Brute, I should say. 90 under here. Not looking too great. And I don't think Swemp holds either. 140 send. Okay, so no resend into Swemp. I would have anticipated a resend here. The problem I have is the Nikomata is now full aggro. Well, this is just bad split management. So the Nikomata taking full aggro, the boss barely surviving. Oh my goodness, this is so tragic. So absolutely tragic. Oh. if he just built differently or he sent a snail to get the butcher, he probably holds. But now he's looking at a massive leak. His teammate is at least thankfully surviving to a no send, so he can, you know, hopefully come back and give him some help. But that's some king damage. That's a lot of king damage actually. Wow, Swemf and Falling are looking a little bit shaky. Fallinger is going to send here into live game, which I don't dislike, but after receiving that large of a send, I would have much rather seen them go 7. Live game's not going to be too bad next, I don't think. He'll get a lot of gold from these leaks, right? They just got 42 and 45 gold respectively off of those leaks, right? So, I mean, I don't see this being too big of an issue. I really don't. And you'll even see here, I mean, Jaren's getting coached pretty heavily, and he's telling him add another split. That's, yeah, pretty heavy coaching, but this is all he really needs to do. Okay, so a triple brute. This might be enough to get through Jaren's build, solely because he doesn't have a whole lot of DPS. He has more tanks than he has DPS, realistically. I think Jaren will leak pretty hard. Oh my goodness, just the split aggro is absolutely unfortunate. It seems like the Atoms are going to, if not full hold, very, very close to it. But Jaren, man, that was a rough wave for him. I mean, there's 3 units, 21%, 26%, and 63%. That is absolutely massive amounts of split aggro. It kind of comes down to the fact of how he built his build, though. I would have actually much rather seen him just not even worry about split, get the Devilfish upped, and leave it there as a Seraphim, just to deal damage. He needed a DPS dealer here. That is a huge leak. That's giving the swing right back to Swemf and Fall. They are getting quite a bit of gold, 63 and 58 gold respectively. So you'll notice now the leaked amount and the gained amount is pretty similar out of both. We're seeing a relatively large send coming out of Jaren in live game into what should be a pretty big leak. Like the Mimic going into Swemf should just obliterate him. There's nothing to stop it. And then Double Brute should be enough to potentially leak Fall. He's not very great on this wave. This Leviathan is probably going to die pretty quickly. It really depends on the aggro here. How do things go? What is the Mimic hit early? What is the Brute hit early for him? Okay, so one Brute will get sniped because it's just on the left-hand side with nowhere to go. The Mimic, though, I think is just getting chomp money. With 3, we saw at least 3 so far. I'd imagine it was more. So 53% into Fallinger, and then not another chomp there. Chomp there and chomp there, though. So that's at least 9 gold, right? So that's some value. It's getting to King as well, which is still positive. Quite a lot of units getting down here. I would have almost liked to see, instead of the Mimic, maybe be a Pack Leader. Would have been better here. Pack Leader just does all-around great damage against every one of his typings so far, as also boosts the value of these units here, correct? You know, so I don't know if that would have been a better option, but I like the idea regardless of the Mimic. People often sleep on Mimic very hard, so it's something that I'm glad to see people are stepping into a little bit more. We do see the sends coming in here. Live game is telling him to build another Gargoyle, it looks like. Green Devil, double Green Devil with healing. Not necessarily particularly great, but something, at least the current game state, give them some options. I don't know if this is going to be enough by Swemf and Fall to leak them at all. I don't necessarily love this whole, like, oh, you sent on a wave? Well, I'm going to resend and leak you. And then, oh, you leaked me? I'm going to leak you again type game, right? What that really ends up doing is in some situations, actually damaging the econ of the team that first got leaked. Because now you'll see Jaren in live game ended up with a lot more gold than Fall than Swem did. So it just kind of doesn't look great. Especially after you got Ascend last wave. I probably would have just went 9 if I were Swem and Fall. But I understand the concern and want for some gold here to try to hold. Uh-oh, all caps, oh no. What was that about? I'm now concerned and intrigued. That was maybe a BM in the sense that like they got Ascend. No sense all around here. I don't dislike the Samurai Soul here. Again, I just think like the screen devil on the right hand side is kind of worthless at this point. Very difficult to go through. Yeah, I think the game's over 10. Yeah, I believe so too. I don't think there's any way that either team holds 10, but we'll see. You'd be surprised on how well live game will do on 10. Just due to the fact that simply he's got a ton of value. Though I do worry a lot about Jaren on 10. He could go Butcher upgraded to a head chef. I think that's probably his play. Oh, yeah, he's got another Steed and then a Radiant Halo. I think that's easy hold for him. You see, instead of the Elite Archer, I'd actually think... Yeah, so he's telling him to go Head Chef as well. I think the Head Chef is just all around better. Good DPS, heals your other units, gives everything a value. Live game is actually king-upping here. Wow. Honestly, Ellie, the minimap doesn't really do a whole lot, to be honest. Okay, so we get some large sends coming in here. The 4 Eyes coming out of live game, I don't dislike. Oh my, okay, this is a literal we're going to try for the win next wave situation. This is a hardened golem, and this is a lot of under here. If anything, I think live game has the best chance in this lobby of holding. Game won't go late. Yeah, this is AoE on every person. I think this is realistically game, no matter what happens here. Double 4 Eyes, triple. There's 3 4 Eyes in this lobby. A Ghost Knight. Like, this is definitely going to be the slaughter that we all thought it was going to be on 11, I guess. The Ghost Knight doing really good job of delaying all the damage on following her. I just don't know if it's enough to actually kill him. We'll see here. 4 Eyes doing well. The hope is one team has to hold longer, right? And it looks like live game actually might just hold, period. That's game. Holy smokes. That is right down to the wire. Right down to the wire. I do believe that live game and Jaren have won it. Froggo win this lobby. Very, very close. Cartel into all-out assault was not how I anticipated this lobby going, but it seems to have been the go-to. Live game did a very good job, I think, of carrying that lobby for Jaren, Froggo boys, etc. That was a close one. You can see by the graph here. I think realistically, what happens is they had this situation where it was teeter-tottering of sends. But what happens is eventually when one team wins out on the send wars, in general, they tend to stay in that leading position, right? Let's see here. Team send. You kind of see what I mean by this, though. It's a send war where it's just constantly boop, 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 boop. Where I think live game, etc., live game and Jaren got ahead more because of this, and we're able to go. It is Jaren and live game in the West team. Or, yeah, West. Yeah, who needs wave 11? Yeah, the entire lobby lost negative 60 on wave 11. That is kind of crazy. Let's see if we can see our income. Is there one for income? Here we go. Oh, it doesn't show it. It doesn't show it. It should tank right here. There we go. Alright, so let's go in here. Let's do our handy dandy cutout. So Froggo admirers. Copy. Paste. Oh, what did I just do? Oh god. Get out of here. Alright, and so Froggo admirers win. Swemf get brushed out here. Well, you see, Popo, we tried using challenge, and it